What have you learned to check at the door like a coat before entering into different rooms or spaces in order to survive, to get by, to be accepted and or thrive? Race? Culture? Femininity? Masculinity? Differences? Insatiable curiosity? Intelligence? Trauma scars? Sexuality? Spirituality? Consciousness, perhaps? How do we reintegrate all aspects of ourselves back into our lives outside of our homes and comfort zones for our own mental health and well-being? Greetings. My name is Dawn from Project Liberate, where I'm concerned with all things that have to do with personal and spiritual liberation. Please look back at my previous videos and build your life fitness if you too want liberation. We're all on a spiritual journey, whether we know it or not, whether we're doing it with intention or not. Each of the video segments that I produce are based on my spiritual journey. Our journeys look different, but the lessons are universal. Same themes, told through different stories. Because it has meant so much to me to learn what I've learned and continue to learn, I'm sharing it, sharing what I've learned. Through these videos, perhaps I can help or support someone. This is the offering. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment if you find the content in this video valuable. Really appreciate it. It's time that these videos get seen by more people, you know what I'm saying? In this video, I want to explore what it means to go from living a fragmented life to finally freeing yourself in all your many colors to live a full-bodied, robust life. Some years back, in the midst of feeling so uncomfortable, even tortured, I realized that I felt more like a shattered mirror with scattered shards than whole. I let colleagues see certain aspects of myself. I shared these aspects at work. I felt my whole self in my own company. Potential partners got something different, and so on. The gaps between the scattered shards of myself felt like they were growing larger, and I felt like crap. I needed to understand this and resolve it. Think about all the aspects of yourself that you've come to think of as impalatable because they just don't seem to be welcomed in the places and spaces you navigate through on the regular. Those things that, if expressed or shared, might get you excluded from the group or groups. For example, being a Black woman of mixed races has been tolerable or tolerated in many of the spaces I've navigated through over the years, more or less. However, talking about my Blackness, race, racism, etc., has for the most part not been tolerated. So I could come into the room as long as I checked a huge part of my identity and experience at the door. I could be Black in the space as long as I didn't talk about being Black or my experiences as a Black person. Side note, George Floyd's murder created a space or opening in non-Black and brown spaces to talk about race for 2.5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And I said of mixed races, and I want to clarify that I am Black and I am also European or white, and I'm also a Central American. So I'm of mixed races, a Black woman of mixed races. Through my experiences, I learned to leave aspects of myself at the door, to make myself palatable, to make others comfortable, to not make people uneasy, which certainly isn't always successful. But what about the true expression of myself? What about my comfort and ease? There are so many unspoken rules in our society that we have to learn and navigate in order to survive. Of course, this begins at home, then school, organizations, community and religious, in neighborhoods, and at work. I went to 10 different schools from K through 12, and almost as many neighborhoods, not to mention all the jobs I've worked since I was 13. This means that I have had to learn the unspoken rules in many situations from an early age. This greatly contributed to me being adaptable. Sounds like a compliment, right? Well, for sure, it has its advantages. For one, I can survive in many social and work situations. Thrive? Not so much. But survive, yes. But at what cost? Well, I learned what was acceptable where and when and with whom. I learned how not to get beat up. I learned how not to call attention to myself. I learned how to stay safe. I learned how to recede into the background to stay out of harm's way. I learned how to read rooms, assess situations and people to see where I was safe or not, what I could say and do and not. I even picked up on subtle language nuances from people I was around. When I spoke, no one could pin down where I was from. I did this from an early age, and this paired with my grandmother making it clear how I wasn't going to speak became another survival tool because I could not be labeled as ghetto and discriminated against because of it. I fragmented myself in order to survive. I learned to shape shift in order to survive, and I practiced it like an art for 5 decades. That's right, 50 years. I learned to censor every word I spoke so as not to rock the boat. Oh, the effing hoops I've jumped through. Someone's gonna ask, but why? I think the answer is obvious. It was in order to survive as a black girl child and all the in-between ages and stages, and then as a black woman in America. There are probably many people who've not done the above and done just fine. And to you, I say bravo. I don't know how you did it, but I admire your resilient fortitude. By the way, I did a video on resilient fortitude, and I'll put that down below and more. Look, I learned how to do this at an early age by picking up on what people said and did. It was never intentional as a child. So I was already doing it for at least a decade before I made certain intentional decisions. I'm just assuming because I don't remember ever saying, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. I've just been doing it. But most of it is on survival autopilot. I have to be intentional not to do it, not the other way around. Thank goodness I've been seriously, intentionally engaged in and on my spiritual journey for some time, where I have spent years actively inquiring into the truth of who I am, which involves cleaning out the dusty corners and lifting up the rug of myself to see what's hiding there. What parts of my experience are lurking in the shadows? What are my shadowy parts and how do they show up in my life? This is the work I've been engaged in. To all of those who may be listening, start this work sooner than later in your life. Start now. It's ongoing for sure, but the sooner you start, the sooner you can free yourself up from all the baggage and stuff we acquire in life that hinders and blocks us. It feels uncomfortable to live a fragmented life as you know or can imagine. Inquiry into this has been and continues to be a blessing. Living a suppressed life isn't really living. It's confining. You feel stuffed down, dull, tired from staying in control, reserved, contracted, frustrated, exhausted, and wound tight. Also, it feels incredibly uncomfortable picking at sores, ouchies that are merely scabbed over, but the pain and the hurt lie just beneath the surface. I didn't want to go to the heart of the pain that has caused me to live so fragmented, because it was years upon years of experiences. But if I didn't, I risked and still risk living a life with the attributes I listed previously. Contracted, confined, stuffed down, frustrated, dimmed down, reserved, guarded, etc. This is a painful topic for me to talk about. I guess because I think about all the time I spent in pieces instead of as a whole me outside of my own company. I just had an epiphany, so I'll share it. That's why I like to spend so much time alone, because I can fully express myself to myself with myself. Ugh. Next epiphany incoming. I'm avoiding not being my full self, being fragmented and not wholly authentic by isolating, maybe even avoiding people and relationships. Where I'm certainly relationships not as practiced and showing up as my full, non-fragmented self. And that is not easy to swallow. But you start where you are. Without judgment, I say that I have lived the majority of my life curating myself for people, locations, and situations. A curated experience for each aspect. I'm now exploring all the ways that I can invite my entire self, and there's so much of her, so much of me, into all the rooms. It starts with rediscovering and refamiliarizing myself with all the other parts of myself. The parts that have been standing at the door waiting patiently or not so patiently to come inside, to come home. As I get to know these authentic aspects of myself, it's important that I welcome them back into the fold, back home. There's a book that I read some years back, a few years back, called The Path is Everywhere by Matt Licata. This book has been an incredible text, an incredible resource for me as I continue to do this work. One of the biggest things for me is to allow all aspects of myself to have voice. I'm practicing vocal transformation, which is helping me to usher in my new era of integration and full expression of my authenticity by clearing out all the gunk and blocks. And I'm going to do my best to at least I'll put vocal transformation and put Marin and her information, a link to the information, and more underneath this video. It's incredibly transformational work. And by the way, everything is voice, right? In this video, I'm expressing voice in email and text and telephone calls. Obviously, we express voice and paintings or music we create or what we don't say, right? And everything is voice. This is a topic I will continue to explore, and I'll be sharing, among other things, the process of reintegrating the other parts of myself back into myself. It's all about what? It's all about what? Liberating ourselves. Remember, you are the light of the world. That's why you're here. That's your only function. I am the light of the world. That's why I'm here. That's my only function. May you be well. May you be happy. This has been a yellow banana. No, this has been a 721 yellow banana production. I don't know. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment if you found the content in this video valuable. I really appreciate it. More people need to see these videos. Spread the word. Spread the news. Project Liberate. All right. Peace.